Hello everybody, welcome to lesson 5 Java training by Holistic Learning Academy, and today we are going to begin learning object oriented programming, and this is the crux of Java programming. So far we have seen primitives and we have seen control statements, which are the basic building blocks of the language, but with Java object oriented programming we are getting into a bit more advanced programming concepts. And if you do not know object-oriented programming already, it's fine. You should be able to pick it up from here with very little guidance from other places. But if you are already a pro in object-oriented programming with another language, there are some subtle differences in Java, and we are going to study those. So let's see what object-oriented programming is all about. Okay, here. So what are objects? So here I have four different fan objects, four kinds of fans. So this one is a ceiling fan, and this is an exhaust fan, and as you can see this is a stand fan, right? And this is a table fan, right? So we have these four different kinds of fans. Okay, this I believe is called a floor fan. I don't know the exact name. But as you can see, there are different kinds of objects that exist in nature. And Java objects are basically an abstraction over real world objects.
Alright, so now let's see how we can represent these objects in Java. Alright, now all objects have what are known as fields or instance variables. These contain the state of the object. What do we mean by that? For example, here we saw a bunch of fans, right? Now this fan may be running or it may be stopped. That's one attribute or one state of this object. Similarly, this fan could be manufactured by some company. Technically, it's not a state of the object in the sense of its work, but it's also another attribute that is associated with this object. So each one of these objects we can think of as having states, and these states are represented by the fields or instance variables. Okay, so number of blades, for example, some fans will have 3 blades, some will have 4, maybe 5, right? So that's a state of a fan which is more static. It's not going to change it. These are fixed states. Okay, number of blades is a fixed state. Similarly, manufacturer is a fixed state. Model is also fixed. Different fans have different models, but then when we are in the operation of the object, all these three fields are not going to change. Now next is speed level. Now if you think about speed level, when we are actually using the object, that is when we are using a fan, we are going to adjust its speed level. Okay, so this is a thing that we may control in our program. And then we have fan type. Again, this is not a dynamic field, this is more so what I mean by fan type is it a ceiling fan, or is it a floor fan, or is it a table fan, or an exhaust fan? That's what I mean by fan type. Okay, the next one is whether the fan is oscillating or not. Again, this may apply to some fans. For ceiling fans, you can't do any oscillation, it's just rotation. By oscillation, if you have used a floor fan or a table fan, you know that you could set it to oscillating mode. So that's what this is. So it basically just gives air throughout the room, right? Not just in one direction. So these are different states of our object. Methods are the next thing that objects have. What are methods? These are things that the object can do. Okay, what all things can a fan do? Let's see. So you can, well, rather than saying what all things an object can do, what all things can be done to the object. That's more precise definition of methods. Now by turn on, what do we mean? Maybe we just turn the switch on. Okay, so that makes the fan run at a certain speed, right? That's an action that we can take on the object. So when we take action on the object, for example, when we invoke the turn on method on the fan object, it's going to change the state of the object, the speed level, right? So initially speed level may be let's say 0 RPM, and then when we turn it on and the default speed is set to, let's say, level 2 or 3 or 4, then it's going to set the RPM to the level that you have chosen. Okay, turn on is one action. Turn off, you can turn off your fan, right? And you can sometimes just change your speed level, right? And then you can change in some fans the oscillation, and then increase speed level by some amount, right, which is same as set speed level, right? But maybe you are just decrementing the speed level by 1, and then you are decreasing the speed level by some amount. All these actions are possible, and we'll see how to implement all of this. Okay, we also have convenience methods. What do we mean by these? These are like is running. Is running is a convenience method. By that we mean this is not going to directly change the state of the object, or it's not even going to give me the value of a specific state. Like it's not going to tell me what the speed level is. This is just going to check the speed level and check if the speed level is greater than 0, right? So it's a convenience method. We'll see in a moment why these are extra methods that can just make your code look very nice. Okay, is turned off, is running full speed, right? So all these are basically convenience methods. Now class design basically depends on your requirements. What do I mean by that? For example, the speed level that we just discussed could be discrete values like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 levels of speed, or you may have a continuous adjustment with a knob. So you can just set RPM anything from 0 to some maximum value, in which case your speed level is going to be a continuous variable. So what would you use for a continuous variable? So minimum is 0, right? And maximum can be, I don't know what the RPM is, which is rotations per minute, could be probably 500, right? So if we can set this value in a continuous range, you would be better off storing it as a float or a double. If it's going to be discrete values like speed level 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 or something like that, we would just use int. We can use int, or we could use even byte if you want. In general, you're not going to save a lot by using byte or short, even though we saw them in primitives. You would use byte and short only in severely memory constrained environments like mobile applications, when you are developing embedded systems and very memory constrained environments. Typically you can use int. Okay, so that's what I mean by class design depends on the requirements. All right, so that's what the next point says. Now I am going to get into action and show this code. Okay, so what do we do? As usual, what I'm going to do is go here and let me close all this. So you can just press Ctrl W, it will close the windows here. Okay, I'm also going to close these so we get some space. I'm going to move this outline here, and so this is good. And if you want, you can save this perspective. So this is in Java, so I just go to Window and I say save perspective as Java. Okay, now a perspective with the name Java already exists. Do you want to overwrite? In my case, I just want to overwrite this. So I say yes.
All right, so now we got our workbench set up properly. This is called an Eclipse workbench, by the way. I still have some output from previous lesson. Let me just clear this. So if you just click here, this one, it just clear console. Okay, so let's create a new Java project, and I'm going to call it OOP for object oriented programming, and then finish. And then I go here, there is SRC, and inside SRC I'm going to create different classes basically here. I'm going to call this class as fan, like we were just saying. So new again. So let me just repeat this. Right click, new class. Yeah, and I'm going to call this fan, F-A-N, as usual, uppercase letter, begin with uppercase, and then you say finish. Okay. Now fan is our class. Okay. Now what's the difference between class and an object? Right now all we are doing is we are declaring a class. Now what is an object? We'll see in a minute what an object is. What is the difference between class and object? Now this class, as you see, is going to be a template from which we are going to create objects. Okay. So we said we will have different fields in our object, like we saw here. We said we'll have number of blades, manufacturer, model, all this. Let me just copy this over to the code. So in Java, I'm going to teach one more way to make comments is you can have the C style comment. If you just say / followed by an asterisk, press enter, this whole block is going to be comments, right? So all this is going to be comment. And similarly, if you want to, for example, let's say you want all this to be aligned, you could highlight all of them and then press tab, right? In this case, it's just a bit off, but you can see the whole thing is moving like this. And if I press shift tab, it's going to move the thing, whole thing, one tab out. So I'm going to do this and then make it like this. So we have all of them aligned. All right. Some neat little Eclipse tricks as you go along. All right. So now I'm going to make number of blades a variable. So initially I'm just going to use public everywhere. Public is one of what is known as an access modifier. What we mean by access modifier is who has access to any of the thing we have. For example, here we said public class fan, right? Public means anybody can access. Now who is anybody? Anybody inside this project for now, for us, okay? And there are other access modifiers like public. We have a few other. We'll see them as we go forward. For now, I'm just going to say public int num blades. All right. Again, remember the lower camel casing convention. For previously we were using here in lesson 3, we were seeing a lot of these, right? So for example, we went to continue demo. We were using like ages, index, all these things. These are basically living inside this method, right? So they are basically local variables as far as this method is concerned. Now we are calling these as instance variables because this is an actual class which is going to represent an object, all right, unlike this one which we were just using for demo purposes. Okay, so this is a template for creating new objects. So we are going to call these as instance variables, and these variables that we declare inside this class are instance variables. Okay, so next I'm going to use manufacturer. I'm just going to use string. I'm going to say public string manufacturer. Okay, and then the model, again I can use string for model 2, right? Some model name. And then speed level, initially we are going to set this as, let's see what we have here. I'm using for speed level int, so I'm going to just use int speed level. All right, and then fan type is there, which is again going to be a string, public string fan type, and then is oscillating or not. Now what is the correct type for that? It's a boolean, right? Public boolean is oscillating. Great. So now we have 6 fields. Actually, let me move fan type one level above, right? And then now it's clear, right? So we have 6 fields. Let me delete this now that we got them. Now 6 fields, of which these 4 fields are pretty much fixed throughout the fan's life, any fan's life once they are set, and then these two are going to be what we are varying. Alright, so that's good. Now that we got the fields in there, let's see what all methods we want to support. So we said object is going to be having methods. These are the things that the object can do, or things that can be done to an object. So you can turn on an object, turn off, set speed level, and then set oscillating if it's going to be an oscillating fan or not, and then do a couple of changes to the speed levels. So initially what I'm going to do is just leave it like this. Okay, we'll come back to this. So this is all I have. Okay, now who's going to run this, or who's going to use this? Okay, so for that I'm just going to create another class called fan runner. Okay, the fan runner class is the one that's going to create the fan objects. We'll see right now we just have a fan class, so this is just a template, right? Now this template is going to be taken by this class and then run. So to run Java applications, what do we need? We saw already that to run Java class we need main method, right? So I'm just going to create a main method inside fan runner in main and control space and enter. Now this is where we are going to have this class, which is fan runner, interact with the fan class. So how do we do that? Now I'm going to create what is known as a reference. Okay, so what we do is we say fan, okay, which is the type of our variable. Let's call it f. Okay, now I'm going to create a new fan object. So I just say new fan. Okay, so this is the syntax. Now I said this is a reference. So what do I mean by that? So whenever I'm creating something like this, I have to first say the syntax is like type. So let me go here. So I say type, okay, which is fan. Any class is a valid type. So fan here is a valid type for our variable. So type, the next one is our variable name. Type variable name equal to, I say new, and then I have to use the type name here, and then open and close bracket. Now this is the simplest possible way to create an object. Okay, so now we got what is known as a reference to our fan. Now what is happening here is when we say new fan, Java actually creates an object, and whenever I say fan f equal to on the left side, it takes this object and then assigns what is known as its reference to f. So let me just actually illustrate this here for a second. So let's go here, and this we are going to see right now, but let's just look at this diagram. So Java always creates objects in what is known as a garbage collectible heap. We'll see what is garbage collection further in this lecture, or in the next one actually. Heap is again a place where Java keeps objects. Okay, you may recall from your computer science algorithms, if you have had a course, what a heap is. But Java keeps newly created objects, in fact all objects, not just newly created, in its heap. And whenever we say new fan, all it does is it creates this object, right? So this new fan here that we did corresponds to this, right? So when we say new fan, it creates this object, and then whenever I say equal to, right, here it takes this fan reference. Here I'm calling it fan. In our code we just called it f, right? So it takes the reference and then assigns it to this object. All right, so next what we can do is we can do stuff to this object now. So I can set a few things. So I can say f dot. See, whenever I say f dot and I press control space, it gives me a bunch of stuff. So it says you can do fan type, you can do is oscillating, manufacturer, model, all these things. Now these 6 things we have in our class, so it's giving us the fields. Remember here we have 6. So those 6 are coming, let me press control space again. So those are coming in here, right? Now this is happening, something is happening here. It says equals, get class, all this is saying is object, right? Now we'll revisit this concept. For now, let's just ignore that. Okay, we'll come back to this in subsequent lesson. But now I'm interested in setting, let's say fan type. F dot fan type equal to, let's say, like ceiling fan. Okay, so I just set it because fan type is string. Okay, similarly I'm going to set other things. F dot is oscillating equal to, is oscillating is basically a boolean variable. See, that's why your naming is so important. Since I named it is oscillating, I know this is a boolean variable. Let's say true. Okay, f dot manufacturer equal to some abc. Okay, corp, abc corp. Okay, and f dot model is some 23b. Okay, some model for the fan. And then f dot blades, number of blades for this fan is, let's say, 4. And then f dot speed level is going to be, let's say, 3, right? Now we have all the fields set to something, right? So all our 6 fields have some values now. And of course, to retrieve the value, you're just going to use, for example, you can print sysout f dot speed level. All right, so good. So we can access the value here. For example, if I run this code, I'm just going to get 3, what I set it here. So very easy. But now next thing we said, we should know if the fan is running or not. So what is the logic for that? So I can say if f dot speed level is greater than 0, I'm going to say the fan is running. Okay, so I'll say fan is running. Good. Let me delete this. And of course, if I run this, I'm going to get fan is running, right? Now this is one way to do it. But imagine that in a large application, we have hundreds or thousands of fans. Are we going to keep this piece of code here in the fan runner class? Makes sense to move this into the fan class itself, right? So that's where an object can itself report things about it. Okay, so that is one thing we are going to see, how to move things that are about an object into the class itself. So the way to do that would be, I go here and then from here I'm going to declare methods. Okay, so I'm going to say again public. Now what is this method? I want to check, let's go back here, I want to check if the fan is running or not. Okay, so I'll give a meaningful name like is running, but what is the return type for this method? So this is also going to be boolean, right? Is running. Okay, so I say is running. So since it's a method, I'm not going to do just this. If I do this, then it becomes a field. But the moment I open and close a bracket, it becomes a method, right? So I open and close something. So now this is a method. Why is it giving me a red? Because see here, what does it say? I need to return something. So whenever I set public boolean, I'm saying that this method, if invoked from anywhere, is going to return a boolean. And what does this compiler error tell me? It says that you either add a return statement, in which case if I just add a return, let's say for now true. Okay, so that's a boolean, it's valid, it will compile. So I should either do that, or it says change return type to void. Okay, so what does void mean? Void means this method need not return anything. So if I do this, it will compile, right? But that's not what we want, right? We don't want a void, we want this method to return something. So I'm going to change it back to boolean, if you just press Ctrl Z, it just undid. And here I'm going to say if speed level is greater than 0, I'm going to return true. Okay, true. Else return false. Okay, so is this logic correct? So if speed level is going to be greater than 0, I'll say the fan is running. Okay, and else return false. Now from previous lessons we know that these 5 lines can simply be changed, right? So what is the equivalent of these 5 lines? We can use a ternary operator. So let me just comment this out for now. Always try to, once you write your code, try to clean it up if you can. So return speed level greater than 0. Speed level is going to be greater than 0. I don't need this brackets actually. I can just do this. If this is this, I can say true, else false, right? Now this is good. It's nice. It's much better than here. But we can actually just remove this, because that's what this is itself going to return, right? So all I'm doing is, if speed level is greater than 0, which means if that is true, I was saying return true, right? Sorry, let's just do a Ctrl Z, right? If speed level is going to be greater than 0, anyway it is returning true, so there is no need to again return true or false. Okay, so I'm just going to delete this. Now it's just this, that's it, right? So is running a speed level greater than 0. Okay, so this is a nice way of writing this method. Good. So each fan can itself report whether it is running or not without us doing this check in our code. Okay, so what will be the code? So I'm going to delete this, and our code is now going to read very nicely. If f dot is running, right? See, now the method is there, so I can just do this, then I can say sys out fan is running, right? So you don't need to check the speed level. In fact, you don't even care what these things when you are checking here. All you are caring is if the fan is running or not. For all you know, the speed level may not be an int, right? Or it could be continuous. You don't care here. All we care is f is running, that's all. And this class is going to take care of itself and report its state to us. Okay, so if I run this, fan is running. Okay, so this is again just the way you are going to declare your methods. Now let's see how we can improve our design. All right, so what we have done here is we have taken this fan class and we have all these fields, and they can be set or changed by anybody outside this class. So there is no nobody, for example, is preventing from this num blades being set to -1, right, or 0. Okay, so there is no consistency check, right? And nobody is also preventing us, like once we made this fan, for example, this guy could later on change the manufacturer, right? So we don't have any way to enforce that people should not be changing manufacturer once it is set. So all these are going to make our code vulnerable to mistakes by our clients who are going to use our fan class. So what we should do is restrict access to our fields. Okay, so we are going to make all this not public. Now what's the opposite of public? Opposite of public is private, right? So I'm going to make it private, which means I will hide my fields. So you can't access my fields directly. Outside world cannot access my fields directly. Okay, so I'll make all of these as private. Okay, now this method of course is going to be public because this I want to expose to outside world. I can report if somebody is asking whether I'm running or not. As a fan, I can report whether I'm running or not, right? So good. Now, the moment we made it private, there are some yellow underlines here. What are those? Let's see. It says the value of the field fan.numblades is not used. Now, what does that mean? Now, who can access this variable? Only inside this class we can access this numblades, right? Now, if we try to access this numblades in another class, like here, you see all these problems, right? So all these are compile errors. So it says change visibility of fan type to package. Now, why does it say it's package? Here, because I am in the same package, it says even just the package level visibility is enough. Okay, so that's another access modifier, which is package level access modifier. So let's just try and see what this is. So fan type. Okay, so I'm going to just click on this. So what it did is it removed the private. All right, so this is another level of access modifier, okay, which is just if you don't say anything, this field can be accessed from within this OOP package. We have not studied packages yet, so that's why I didn't want to cover it, but since Eclipse prompted me, I thought it'd be a good idea to cover this also. This is another access modifier. See here, package OOP, which means it's inside this OOP package. So I'm not going to do this right now. Okay, so I'm just going to do a Control Z, which means this went back to here, Control Z. Okay, so this went back to private. Okay, so once that is private, we cannot do this anymore. All right, so that's all going to be controlled by the fan class itself. Okay, so now we can't access these fields anymore, but we should be able to change them, right? If we cannot access them, what good is it? Because we can't turn it on, we can't turn it off, we can't do anything, right? So what we do is we provide what are known as getters and setters. Okay, through these we can control what values are set to our fields. So I'm going to make public. Okay, for example, let's just take the numblades field and then do what is known as a setter. Okay, so setters always have void return, which means they don't return anything. And I'm going to say set numblades. You see how I'm naming this? So I use set and then numblades. I'm going to use this, but then I'm going to do the lower camel case, but it's already a set, right? So this is going to be a lower camel case still, but since I'm using set, I'm going to say set numblades and I say int, let's say x. Okay, so somebody is going to pass a value here, int x, to this method. Then I'm going to make numblades equal to this x. Okay, so that is a setter. So with the help of setter, we could go here and we can change this, right? So this was our original. So I'm going to say f dot set numblades 4, right? So which is same as what we had before, but what I can do here is a nice thing. See, inside here, if somebody passes me an invalid x, what is an invalid x? Anything less than or equal to 0 is invalid, and we can also set a maximum for our number of blades. For example, we say if x is less than or equal to 0, which means it's a bad value, or let's say x is greater than 5. All right, so we can't have more than 5 blades, then it's a problem, right? So we cannot have a fan like this. So we need to somehow not allow blades to be anything other than 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, this is again something that we are going to take our project requirements and then design. Okay, so now the ideal thing to do here is something that we have some more time to cover, what are known as exceptions, but for now I'm just going to set this to 4. Okay, x equal to 4. and then I'm going to just alert with a print statement sysout, right, x equal to x is not allowed. It's not x equal to x, it's numBlades. Yeah, numBlades equal to x is not allowed. So set to default value of 4. Okay. So what we are doing here, if this is an invalid value, then I'm going to just make x equal to 4 and then set numBlades equal to x here. Alright, so if here I go and say something like -1 or 0, right, just some bad client is going to do this. You don't allow him to do that, right? You ensure that x is set to a valid value, right? Now, this is not the best way to do this. I'm just illustrating here for example. Okay. Now, once we do this, now let's just go and do 4 here. Now, somebody may want to know how many blades our fan has, so we also need to provide a getter. So we say public int get numBlades. Okay, and then we just return numBlades. Okay. Now here we are returning an int value. Okay. So somebody can set the number of blades and then they can get it. Now let's just forget about the other fields here for a moment. I'm just going to comment all these things out, and then I'm going to do this. Okay. Now if I do this code will compile, because let me move this over to the top. Okay. So I'm not setting any of the other fields to anything. All I'm doing is just setting the number of blades to 4, and I'm checking if the fan is running, right? Now what will happen here? See, we haven't set anything here for these instance variables other than numBlades, which is set through this setter. So all of them have to get some default value. Now in Java, you see instance variables, we have string instance variables here, right? So when the object is created, none of these are set. So int variables get a default value of 0. Okay, so if we don't set it ourselves, this is going to get 0. Similarly, speed level is going to be 0. And then strings, as we know, are objects. They are all going to be set to the special object called as null. Okay, so we'll be seeing that in a minute. What is null? That is just like 0 being the default value for int, null is the default value for all object types. Okay, not just strings. For all object types, if you do not initialize, or if the variable is not set, then it's going to be null. So right now here, I'll set the number of blades to 4. At this point, all the other types like fan type is going to be null. Is oscillating default value for boolean. Since we are not setting it, it's a private value. It will be default is going to be false for this. And then manufacturer will be null, model will be null. numBlades we are setting here 4, and then speed level is going to be 0 because it's an int value, right? So if f is running, this shouldn't be printing anything really, right? If I try to run this, it should just run, right? So it didn't print. So for clarity, we can just do else fan is not running. Okay, so let me just run this. So it says fan is not running because that value is set to 0. All right. So now all is well and good. Now how do we set these other things? Am I going to type each and every one of these setters and getters? Luckily, you don't need to do that. You just use Eclipse to do the hard work for you. Just go here, source, and then you can say generate getters and setters. It says for which fields you want to generate getters and setters. I'm going to select all the remaining 5, and then I'm going to say OK. See, now magically all these fields have a getter and setter, and all our warnings have vanished, right? So if I just save this, all our warnings go away, right? So here it says get manufacturer, set manufacturer. See here, one more thing. This manufacturer, say Eclipse is highlighting this manufacturer is a local variable inside this method. That is, this argument is this one. Now this is in blue color, as you can see. right? So this is the instance variable, which is this one, right? So that's why it's prefixed it with this. What it means is this means this object's instance variable. This manufacturer is local variable. So previously when I was doing the num blades, I used X here, right? So just to differentiate between the argument that is passed and the instance variable that is set. Okay, but then the Eclipse code completion will always do like this. It will say this dot manufacturer. Okay, so don't confuse this one. This is, you can always click on this and see what this variable is, and you can click on this in Eclipse and it is going to highlight what this variable is. Okay, so similarly, get model, set model, fan type, all these things are there. So we could go back and fix our code. So what do? We go here, we just say f dot set fan type, okay, and then we do ceiling fan, and similarly we can set all the other fields. Okay, so I have set all the other fields with our public accessor methods, the setter methods, okay, which are called as mutators, not accessors. The accessors are the getters. Okay. Now Eclipse does not know what constraints we need to set, right? For example, something like this, Eclipse does not know. All Eclipse is going to do is, if you let it create the speed level setter for you, it will just say whatever is passed is going to be speed level. So we need to ensure that speed level is in valid range. So for example, same thing as num blades, we have to say if speed level is less than or equal to 0, or speed level, let's say we have maximum we allow is 10, is greater than 10, then again we need to do the same thing, right? So we are going to say sysout invalid speed level equal to, and then I'm going to say speed level, right? Whatever is passed, this is again, remember this is the argument that is passed, invalid speed level. So setting to 5. Okay, so I'm just going to set it to 5. All right. So here we say speed level equal to 5, and then that is the speed level that we have set. So similarly, you may want to enforce certain things here, right? For example, manufacturer is a string, that should be okay. Model is a string, is fine. Fan type, you may want to say only 3 or 4 are allowed. Okay. But for now, we'll just allow fan type to be anything that the user wants to set, the user of our class. But we are not going to allow them to set any arbitrary speed levels. Okay. So let's just try that, and maybe even the num blades to pass something which is not in the range, right? So if I say set num blades equal to 10, what happens here? So it'll come into this f dot set num blades 10, and it's going to set it to 4. So let's see if that is happening. So we should have the print, right? There you go. So num blades equal to 10 is not allowed, so set to default value of 4, and then it says fan is running. So similarly, if I'm going to set the speed level to -1, okay, see invalid speed level equal to -1, so setting to 5. So we need to ensure within our classes that all of them are consistent. Okay, so that is what this whole concept of making your fields as private and then providing setter methods to set the fields with the logic enforced in the setter methods like here. This whole concept is called as encapsulation. Okay, so let me just type that here, encapsulation. All right. Now, encapsulation is a broader concept than this, but since this is the first taste of encapsulation for us, basically you can think of it essentially as one of the most important places where encapsulation is in action, like here, where you're going to make all your fields and instance variables private, and then you're going to provide getters and setters. Okay, and then within setters we are going to enforce our validity checks and then make sure everything is fine. And whenever somebody interacts with our object, they are going to interact with it like this, and then we can provide these convenience method like f dot is running, right? Or if you want, we can also have other convenience method like f dot increment speed level, right? The same thing if the current, and if you want to make sure that the maximum speed level is only going to be 10, right? So you cannot increment beyond it. You again need to alert the user that the speed cannot be incremented. So let me just illustrate that one example, and we can close this lecture. So we just say public void increment speed level. For example, we may also take an increment value. Okay. Now this is just again a convenience method, because see, you can directly set the speed level, right? But for that you need to get the speed level at the current level. If you don't want to get the speed level and then add 1 or 2 to it, you can just use this method, which is increment speed level. You don't care what the current level is, you just want it to be incremented by your increment value. Rather than calling it increment value, let me just call it increment. Okay. So what do? We just check if speed level, now the current speed level, if it is going to be 9, and then I get an increment of 1, then I can increment it to 10. But if let's say current speed level is already 10, then we cannot accept any increments. Okay. And similarly, I am also going to, let's say for now, disallow negative values. So first thing I do is I'm just going to say if increment is less than or equal to 0, I'm just going to make increment equal to 0. Okay, so I'm going to do nothing, right? Or I can as well do a return. Okay, and then I can print here invalid increment and say increment. Okay, so this is an invalid increment value, and then I just simply return. But the other problem is, if speed level is already so high that it cannot take this increment, then we should ensure that we don't exceed our maximum value of 10. So if speed level plus increment, right, is going to be greater than 10, you say sysout increment not fully applied, right, setting to maximum of 10. Okay, so we cannot do that because maximum speed that we are allowing is only 10, right? Else you can always do speed level plus equal to increment, right? Oh, here I forgot this one. So speed level equal to 10. Okay, is this clear? Just a bit verbose because we are doing all this consistency check, but I hope this is clear. So what we do here is, if increment is going to be less than or equal to 0, we say you have passed a 0 or a negative value, so we just simply return, we don't do anything. If speed level plus increment is greater than what we are allowing, the maximum 10, like we did here, we just give a warning telling that increment not fully applied, setting to maximum of 10, right? Setting, we can say setting speed level to maximum of 10. So I just set it to 10, else we can apply our increment. Alright, so here we can just go and say f dot increment speed level by 2 more. Okay, Control S for save, and then I have incremented the speed level by 2. So here it set it to 5. So let me just print here f dot get speed level. Okay, so run as Java application. So num blades is 10, not allowed 5, it set it to 5, and then we said here 2, and then fan is running. Okay, so with that, let's conclude this lesson and we'll see you in the next lesson. Until then, bye bye.